All right, everybody, welcome back. We are jumping into a fascinating deep dive today. A geopolitical situation that has some serious real-world implications.
Yeah, they won.
The Indus Waters Treaty, a long-standing agreement between India and Pakistan. And recently there's been some developments, a bit of a dispute
Right.
regarding some hydroelectric projects. And this is the kind of thing that anybody out there who's studying up for the UPSC exams, it's definitely something you want to pay attention to because this kind of water management and these kinds of disputes often pop up. So let me just lay it out there. The Indus Waters Treaty. It's a 1960 agreement that governs water sharing between India and Pakistan. It's supposed to ensure equitable access to the Indus River system, which is vitally important for both countries.
Absolutely. It's a lifeline.
But as with many agreements like this, there can be disagreements on how it's implemented, and that's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
So to set the stage, India is currently constructing two hydroelectric projects,
Right.
the Kishinganga and Rattle, and Pakistan is objecting to these. So can you explain why Pakistan is so concerned about these projects?
Well, the key issue is where these projects are located. They're both on rivers that are considered Western rivers under the treaty, the Jhelum and Chenab rivers. And these rivers are allocated to Pakistan for their use. So Pakistan sees these projects as a potential infringement on their water rights.
Okay, that makes sense. So they see it as India potentially having too much control over the water flow.
Exactly.
Now, there's been a pretty significant development recently. A World Bank-appointed neutral expert has actually sided with India,
Yeah.
saying that this neutral expert has the authority to resolve this particular dispute. So this is kind of a big deal, right?
Oh, it's definitely significant. It
Yeah.
upholds India's right to proceed with these projects, and it might actually weaken Pakistan's position. They had initially wanted a neutral expert, but they later changed their mind and preferred international arbitration.
Oh.
So this decision to let the neutral expert decide probably isn't what they were hoping for.
Oh, so they were hoping to take it to a different venue, so to speak.
Essentially, yeah.
So to really get our heads around this, I think we need to go back in time a bit and look at the history of this treaty. I mean, it was signed in 1960. It's a while ago.
Right. It was a different world back then. Think about it. India and Pakistan, newly independent nations, both heavily reliant on the Indus River system. And the World Bank really stepped in, played a crucial role in mediating this agreement. They understood that dividing this vital resource fairly could help prevent future conflict. And it's important to remember the global context, too. This was the Cold War. Both countries were navigating this global power struggle. So the treaty was shaped by all these factors.
Right, because water, especially in that region, it's not just a resource. It's a security issue. It's an economic issue. It's everything.
Exactly.
And I find it really interesting that now India has actually called for a review of the treaty. What does that even mean? Are they trying to rewrite the whole thing?
It's not necessarily about completely scrapping it. It's more about, updating or amending certain provisions to reflect the current realities.
Oh.
Because think about it, the world has changed drastically since 1960. Climate change, population growth, evolving water needs. All of these things weren't really factored into the original agreement. So India's argument is that the treaty needs to adapt to these new realities.
Right.
It's really a call for modernization, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
to ensure the treaty remains effective and relevant.
So I guess the million-dollar question is, what are the most important things to consider in actually resolving this? Because there are strong arguments on both sides. It's not a clear-cut situation.
Absolutely. And for those of you studying for those UPSC exams, this is the heart of the issue. How do you balance the need for development, the need for resources like hydroelectric power, with the principles of equitable water sharing?
Right.
And how do you ensure that a treaty that was signed over 6 decades ago can still be effective in today's world, especially when you have things like climate change adding more pressure to the system?
It really highlights how interconnected these issues are. Water, energy, international relations, it's all intertwined.
Completely. And I think that's what makes this dispute and the potential review of the treaty so important. It's not just about India and Pakistan. It has implications for the whole region and potentially even beyond.
Absolutely. This has been a real eye-opener. I think we've all learned a lot today. The Indus Waters Treaty is an incredible example of international cooperation, but it's also a reminder of how complex these issues can be. So if you're interested in learning more about these kinds of geopolitical challenges, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives.
We'll keep bringing you the fascinating and the complex. Until next time.
See you then.